so proud to be Haitian because just everything about being Haitian is just awesome.
You know, everyone know about the history of Haiti, first Black independent country in 1804.
Understanding the history of Haiti, Haitian people, you can't help but be proud of the accomplishment that have happened.
Haitian Americans have done really well in the past few years. There's still a lot more work to be done. Only about 20% of us actually have a bachelor's degree.
I understand firsthand some of the challenges that Haitian American students, graduates, and professionals have faced.
Some of them have overcome incredible adversity.
Both immigrated or asylum seekers or refugees.
There are not that many Haitian-focused scholarships, but like any other award, the NAHP Leadership Award is providing recognition for one's hard work.
As we know, college is expensive, so this scholarship fund provides the chance for a brighter future.
It felt like the universe was speaking, like I needed the money, I was intrigued, people were telling me to apply.
Going to college or graduate school can be very, very expensive. So donating to a scholarship like this would help that expense be more manageable.
Future generation of leaders, scholars, entrepreneurs,
young adults that are trying to make something of their lives.
They are rock stars. They just need the help, and they need us to help them accomplish it.
There's like this Haitian proverb that says, "Many hands palu," many hands make the load lighter.
Log in and you can donate $10, $25, $50.
It makes me think of the Malcolm X quote that education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. It makes me happy to know that our organization is contributing to that goal, preparing others for the future.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to our virtual scholarship information session. We're so glad that you could join us and to hear a little bit about the National Association for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals Scholarship, Haitian Leadership Scholarship Program. We hope that this session provides you with some information on, first of all, our scholarship program itself and some ways that you can hopefully create a successful application. We've got a wonderful group here with us. I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves. We are all part of the scholarship committee. I'm Dr. Marjorie Brennan. Kimberly, you want to go next?
Good afternoon. I am Kimberly Alonso. I'm a scholarship committee member and also a student at the University of Central Florida.
Hi, I'm Dr. Carline Crevecoeur, and I am also on the scholarship committee. I am a retired OBGYN physician, and I live in central Pennsylvania.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ganaelle Joseph-Senatus. I'm a medical student at Medical College. I am on the committee for the scholarship, and I was also a recipient in 2018. It's great to see everyone here today.
Okay, so thank you again. So we will be starting out by talking about the college application resume. Okay, does everyone see my slides there, I think? Okay, so the college application resume is important for a couple of reasons. You should have that in your, obviously, when you're applying to schools as well. And so I'm kind of framing this conversation based on overall how to build a good college application resume, but also importantly, how it can help you with the NAHP scholarship application. So the point of a resume is just like with any resume that you would do for a school or for a job, and that it allows the people who are looking at you to look at your skills and training, your work experience, and your education, and most importantly, any accomplishments that you have. And it provides a quick summary of those qualifications. That's really important when you think about the fact that most employers and colleges are looking at a lot of different people at any given moment. It could be dozens, it could be hundreds. So to the extent that you can kind of really capture yourself, especially when you can do that on one page, that they can kind of review a quick history about who you are, that makes them want to learn more. I mean, that's, I think, part of what the resume should do, is that, it should make them pause in their scanning and say, I want to know more about this person. It's a way for you, its purpose is to persuade the scholarship reviewer or an employer to interview you and consider you. So there are, sorry about that. So the college application resume should look at a few specific, sorry about that. So there are certain things that should show up on your college application resume. First, you want to do your academic profile. The academic profile might include a summary of what your class rank is, if you think that would be helpful. If that's something where you're graduating the top 10% of your class, put that in there if it'll strengthen your application. Highlight any advanced coursework that you've taken, such as AP, or if you're part of an IB program. SAT and ACT scores, if you have them, list the highest score. We don't need to know any other scores. We just want to see the highest one. As you probably know, with colleges, they will not see any scores that you do not send to them as your highest score. This year, during the pandemic, there are many schools that went test optional. So we are not requiring an SAT or ACT score to be considered for the NAHP scholarship this year. Also want to think about co-curricular activities that might include clubs, musical groups, sports teams that you took part in, any other activities that might be out of school, special activities, whether that's at your church. What we want to see is that you have a diverse background, that you have different interests, and that you are not one-dimensional. And lastly, some of the things that you will want to consider are, sorry about that. This is going on again. The last thing you want to look at in terms of your college resume is employment history, if you've had any part-time jobs as businesses, internships, research that you've done, any shadowing, any summer programs, did you study abroad? Even things like babysitting can be included there. If you've got any interesting skills, tell us about that. Did you learn any languages? Are you fluent in computer skills or software skills? Any things that you've learned on your own? Have you done things that show us that you have strong leadership capabilities, that you're a good communicator? All of those increase the odds that you will be successful for this scholarship. Tell us about your volunteer experience, any special recognition that you've had, achievements that you're most proud of, including any honors and awards. And when you look at things like hobbies and interests, again, we're trying to learn who you are. If you've got things that are very specific to this scholarship, please include those, but also just let us know about things that matter to you, because that helps us get to know you. Okay. Going to stop sharing. And if anyone has any questions, you can put it in the chat box and I'll be happy to answer those. Okay, next, Kimberly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marjorie. Let me share my screen. All right, let me know if you can see my my screen. Great. The number one question on every applicant's mind is, how important is my GPA? Well, my answer to that question is twofold. First of all, your GPA, also known as your grade point average, is used by many colleges and organizations like and AHP to determine your scholarship eligibility. For example, in order to apply for this scholarship, you need a minimum cumulative GPA of 3.2. Well, why is my GPA so important, you may ask? The scholarship committee takes your GPA into account because it gives us an idea of how well you're doing in your classes. It tells us how much you're working towards getting your degree. Also, your GPA can also be a good predictor of your future academic performance. For example, as a high school student, your GPA will tell us how well you are likely to do when you're in college, and so forth. Now, your GPA is really important because it sets you apart from a crowded pool of applicants. When you think about it, last year, the committee received about 60 applications. So when you have a good GPA, it helps you stand out. Give me a second, I'm trying to share the other screen here. All right. Your GPA is important, like I mentioned before, because it increases your chances of actually getting a scholarship. However, your GPA isn't everything. Just to give you an example, last year, the average GPA for our 2020 scholarship recipients was 3.75. Well, while you may consider that high, let me tell you, the highest GPA among that group was 4.0, while the minimum GPA was 3.2. If you were wondering whether or not there is a magic number, my answer to that question is no, there isn't a magic number. The scholarship committee does take your GPA into account. However, as committee members, we know that your GPA does not fully capture all of your academic achievements as a student. So that is why it is very, very important to tell us your personal story, because it doesn't really matter if you have a 4.0 GPA or if you have a 3.0 GPA. When you have a crowded field of applicants, it is important to tell us why you have a 4.0 GPA or why you have a 3.0 GPA, because it sets you apart. Now, if I have an advice for every person out there trying to determine whether or not you should apply, I will tell you, if your GPA is 4.0, keep it up, continue to work hard, make sure you apply. But if your GPA is also 3.2, you are also encouraged to apply, because like I said before, your GPA is important. However, it isn't everything. So tell us your personal story. With that said, I would like to turn it over to you, Dr. Marjorie.
Oh, it's on my first slide. So do I go to share?
Well, you're already sharing. Go to that tab. No, PowerPoint slide. So, StreamYard. No.
This one? Okay, now I'm going to go back to here.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Dr. Carline Crevecoeur, and I would like to talk to you today about the scholarship essay. Okay, so when you get ready to do your scholarship essay, first you got to familiarize yourself with the prompt. That is so important. You read the prompt, you get an idea what they want. Then you look at the word limit. That's also important. You want to think about how long do I want this to be? If they say 2 pages, it's about 500 words. If it's about 1 page, it's about 250 words, double space. Then you want to consider your audience. You want to think about the organization that's sponsoring this scholarship. And you want to do your research about this organization. You want to see what they've sponsored in the past. What's their theme? What do you think they're looking for? And it's not for you to lie or mold yourself, but we all are have different dimension to us. And so what dimension of yourself will apply for that scholarship? Then you want to leave yourself enough time. You want to, when you start writing the essay, you want to give yourself 2 weeks because you want to reflect on it, let it lie, come back and review it. So I think a 2 weeks period of time is a good time to plan for it. And then you want to brainstorm and plan. Even before you even start writing, you just want to, while you're showering, while you're jogging, while you're exercising, you just want to put some thoughts together. Then when you begin to write, you don't want to use strange fonts. A lot of times when we tell you about the scholarship essay or the scholarship in general, we all tell you that you need to stand out, you need to be unique, but using strange fonts is not one of them. You should use the common fonts like the Time Romans or the Arial, and a lot of times the scholarship will also let you know. You want to create an outline. So now that you have an idea which part of yourself that you want to talk about, you want to make an outline. How am I going to introduce? What's my introduction? What's my body? And how am I going to conclude this? And again, you want to create a compelling introduction, something that people are going to say, wow, this is great. I want to see how this person continues the essay. And then you want to think outside the box, of course. You want to capture our attention with a unique application. So on the NAHP website, this is the scholarship that we have now. So, and we tell you specifically, tell us about a situation when you have to overcome barriers and demonstrate leadership to achieve a goal. And then we say it must be typed, Times New Roman style font, 12-point font size, double space, no more than 2 pages. And so when they say 2 pages, we mean 2 pages. We've received some in the past that were 3 pages, and then we received some that was 1 page. And that's okay as long as you don't go over the limit, but you want to go at least close to 2 pages, you know, maybe 1.5. You don't want it to be too short, but you definitely don't want it to be too long. So let's start with the introduction. So you want to draw your audience in with an intention grabbing open sentence related to the prompt. And then once you do that, all your other main points should be sharing what you said later in the essay. So this is an essay that I'm going to be sharing with you, the beginning, the middle, and the ending. And this is how this person by the name of Scott wrote this essay. And this is for another scholarship, but it was based also on hardships that you've encountered in life and how you've overcome. That's a very famous question. A lot of different scholarship uses it because we want to show we want to be able to see your discipline and your problem solving. And so this is why it's a common use essay question. So he said, I will be elected to the office of President of the United States of America. I am more than qualified. In fact, I've been groomed for the position my entire life. I know this because God and the California court system have provided me with a fertile training ground, time spent under the stewardship of a half-absentee father and a psychopath of a grandmother. Right there, you're thinking, oh my God, what's going on with this kid? His first line, he uses some creative writing in that he just introduced this first line that he's going to be elected president of the United States. So you're thinking, oh my God, why is this person so full of himself that he's going to think that? And then he starts going into his life, how he has an absentee father and a psychopath of a grandmother. So this is really intriguing. How does this person that has this problem, what is going on in his life? So that's a very catchy, attention-grabbing opening introduction. So now we're going to go to the body. Things you need to consider for the body. So do not get overly sappy with this kind of a prompt that we ask for things that you've undergone in your life, because a lot of people think that the sadder they make the story, the committee will sympathize with them. And that's not necessarily true. It's not only what you've gone through in your life, but the other half is how you've accomplished it, how you survived it and come out as a stronger person. We need both parts of the story. Another thing is show and don't tell. Like in this example, you don't want to say, I tore my ACL playing ice hockey and I was never able to walk again and things like that. Instead, you want to let us feel what you felt. It was like an anvil or a hammer that smashed down on my knee. In searing pain, I laid on the ice as the ground fell silent. And then I couldn't play my favorite sport again, and so you want us to feel, you want to be specific and concise. You could go overly too graphic and you don't want that. You want to be specific. You want to sell yourself, but you also have to remember to be humble. You don't want to seem like you're bragging. I got straight A's. I answered all the questions in class before anyone else. I volunteered at several organizations, and I think I'm the best candidate to deserve this scholarship. You come across as bragging, and you don't want that. Instead, you could say something like, the discipline I bring to my academic and my volunteer work reflects the hard work that I plan to bring to my college studies, and I would appreciate this financial support. This makes you feel more human and not bragging. You worked hard and you could continue working hard like this in college. You want to be professional, but you also want to be yourself. And by professional, I mean, you don't want to use slang. You don't want to use curse. It's a professional atmosphere. So you want to consider that when you write your application, but you also want to be yourself. So the next one, avoid using the thesaurus. The reason is because some people use these big words trying to impress, but it doesn't fit with the story. And so you need to avoid that. And you want to use exclamation points very sparingly. And they tell you that in just about every writing now, because unlike text, where a lot of people use exclamation points all the time, in writing, it doesn't make your application stronger. It doesn't make what you went through stronger. Exclamation point is usually supposed to be used for excitement or screaming. You need to use it appropriately. So no more than one or two at the very most exclamation points should be used in your writing. The body. So the body, like I said, you want to expand on your main point. You want to make sure that everything you say, you could back it up with some kind of evidence or fact. And this is where you want to encourage to share your details of how you got where you are today, what inspired your hobbies, your interests, and your drive to attend college. So continuing with the essay that I started with in the introduction, I skipped a few points to go to some of the things that he wrote in his body and the body of the essay. On the rare occasion that my dad remembered my existence, I would be taken to his place of residence, my grandmother's home. It was there that I attended weekly taping of the Jerry Springer Show and learned how to wage war. Arguments at the house began with the topic of a loan and would often, if I was lucky, end with a visit from the police. To my family, mutual assured destruction came in the form of mutual restraining orders. And again, he's describing such a dysfunctional home and he's living through it. And you kind of feel bad that this is the life that he'd endured. But he also continues with the theme of being president, because now he's learning what some presidents have done, wage war. And so throughout the theme, he shows you parts of his life and he continues with that theme of president. So again, this is a well-written essay, and it's not part of anything that we received. It was just something that I had found that I thought that illustrated the points that I was trying to make. In the conclusion, ending your work, you want to end it by coming back to your main point, explaining how this scholarship would help support your goals and maybe also have a wider community impact. So you could say something like at the end, ultimately, I want to be a strong role model for the young women who may have been afraid to use their voices. the conclusion should kind of put a nice bow to the end of your essay. And in Scott's essay, he wrote, "Ingrained within me is the need to transcend mediocrity, to give to humanity rather than take. If I learn anything significant from my family, is that I want to do more with my life than collect a monthly welfare check. Quite selfishly, I want to reach the Oval Office to dispel my own fears of failure. However, the true source of my motivation lies in a deeper need to create positive change, to know that when all is said and done, I have left the world a better place, and I won't settle for anything less." Now, in the beginning, when you first read it, you're thinking maybe this guy is cocky. He wants to be president. What, does he have an ego? And then you realize, I don't want to do it for myself. I want to do it because of all the destruction I saw in my family. I want to change things. I want to make this world a better place. And I want to create a positive change. And so it's just beautiful, especially how he started it and how he ends it. It's a full circle, but you get a fuller understanding of why he's doing it, the problems that he had through in his life without overly dramatizing everything to tell people to feel sorry for him. Instead, he's learned from what he went through, and he doesn't want other people to go through that, and he wants to make a world a better place. And for this reason, and I got this essay, in case anybody's wondering, from 50 successful Harvard application essays. And there are a lot of different books that gives you examples of well-written essays or taking a topic and changing it around. And you should never plagiarize in your essay. You should never copy straightforward, but it gives you an idea of different aspects of your life and how you could use it for a good, well-written essay. So at the end of your essay, you want to proofread your scholarship essay. You want to make sure there are no grammatic errors. There's a lot of programs that you could use to check your work. You have Word has it, Google has it, Grammarly is another one that people use. And so it helps you with your punctuation, but also your spelling. And be careful with the homophones because it doesn't pick those up. And even sometimes when you proofread your work, you'll find mistakes. So you want to give it to other people to read it for you also, because they have fresh eyes on it. And you want to make sure that you stick to the prompt and you want their opinion on the overall essay. But you don't want to give it to a lot of people. 2 to 3 people is the most, because when everybody starts giving you their opinion, it's not yours anymore. It's not your tone anymore. And they may change what you're trying to say. So 2 or 3 people should be the most. And you should really try to submit it a day or 2 before the due date. So in the beginning, when I said, make sure you know the due date, I would circle a date before that, because you never know when you wait to the last minute, your Wi-Fi may be down if you have to submit it online. You may be sick and you don't want to, the next day after the due date, you try to submit it and they say, close, we are not accepting any more application. That's the worst, especially when you spend 2 weeks trying to get the perfect essay. So just keep all of these in mind and hopefully you'll do well, and good luck. And this concludes my Mikey.
Thank you for that wonderful talk. At this time, I'm going to share my screen and show you my presentation on letters of recommendation. Okay, so my name is Ganaelle. I'm a medical student at New York Medical College, and I received this scholarship in 2018 when I applied for it. And afterwards, since then, I have been on the committee on the other side since 2018 after receiving the scholarship. So I can give you my perspective from both an applicant and also as someone who's been on the committee for 3+ years. So letters of recommendation. Most scholarship will ask for one. And why are they important and what are they? Something I will talk about today. So during your application, you've talked to us about who you are, what you've done, you've bragged about yourself, you showed us how great you are, you have great GPAs, you have great personal statements, you've told us your hobbies, your interests, your passions. And now we want to know who else in your life feels the same way about you, wants to promote you. We want to hear about what you're doing and get someone else's perspective of who you are. So Today we will talk about letter recommendation, what it is, who to ask for one, how to ask for one, and finally next steps after the process is done. So what is a letter of recommendation? It's like an insurance policy. Or if you're applying for a job, you need a reference, someone who can say, this person will be a great employee. Or you're signing a lease for an apartment or a loan, they can say, this person will pay off this mortgage. This person will be a great candidate for this position. This person is a great person to trust with your money. If you're applying to college, you want someone to say, this student will do great things. It's like an insurance policy. After you've done all your application, you've told us how great you are, the letter of recommendation from another person is like a cherry on top. It really rounds out the application process and gives us a view of your personality, your persona, and how the rest of the world views you, because we on the committee don't know you one-on-one. But it's also great to see who else in your life is cheering you on. Who else thinks you're equally amazing and deserving the scholarship? This all help build for us a view of your person and how you're active in your own community. So moving on to who should you ask for a letter of recommendation? For this scholarship, you need at least 2 letters. One must be from a teacher or professor of your choice, can be past or present, because some people are applying while they're in school, some people are applying while taking gap years, so we take both. The first letter from a professor or teacher, the second from someone of your choice, someone who knows you well, someone who can say how great you are, someone who knows your personality, your goals, someone who can speak about you on a personal level. It doesn't have to be a big name, because we can tell sometimes in the letters if the person writing the letter for you knows you well enough to talk about you, or if they're copy and pasting your resume or your CV into the letter. It gives us a better view of you when it's more authentic. Secondly, you want someone who's a great writer. As someone who's applying for scholarship for leadership, we're also assessing your judgment skills, and you're able to judge who is a great writer, who can advocate for you. That is all part of the package deal. So someone who's a great writer who actually can tell us with great word choice why they think you're great, how you've shown that you're great and you have leadership abilities. And someone who can speak to that ability, someone who's seen you be a leader. So that is important when choosing who's going to be your letter writer. Let's say you're an athlete and you have a coach who's talking about how great you are at basketball. Maybe they want to talk about how you're the team captain and how that is how they've seen you as a leader and where they think you'll go from there on. If you are in school and you're a tutor, maybe your boss or your professor can say, this person takes great initiative to go above and beyond. There's someone who's seen you as a leader and they can speak to what they've seen. Now we're gonna ask about how to ask for a letter of recommendation. And the key word here is how to ask for a strong letter of recommendation. The goal is you be direct, you are humble but not shy. You're putting yourself out there to approach someone to say, Professor so-and-so, teacher so-and-so, you've known me for a while now, you've seen how I act, how I present myself. I trust your intuition and your view of me. Do you believe you have the time and you've seen me or know me well enough to be able to write me a strong letter of recommendation? They may say yes, they may say no. If they say no, that's okay. You've had time to practice with someone. You can ask someone else. If they say yes, that's wonderful. Now you're going to follow up via email or in person to send them most likely a copy of your resume or your CV so that they can put all those things into context. Put all those things into context so that they can pull in to say, this person is good at this is their personality, this is why, they're deserving of a scholarship. Maybe they want to sit with you one-on-one in a meeting in their office just to ask more of you, to ask you, what do you think are a good point for me to mention in this letter recommendation, so that I can make sure that you are the best candidate, that I help you put your best foot forward. It's always great to pick someone who knows you, because they're putting themselves on the line to say, I believe this is a good candidate, and this is why. And having someone who can tell the whole story by knowing your past, knowing your resume, what you've done, and knowing what your goals are a great way to have a great application. So that's why you need to ask for a strong letter of recommendation. Now that you've had someone write your letter of recommendation, what do? The follow-up steps is, before you ask someone for a letter, you need to know what is the timeline. Let's say a scholarship is due on April 19th. Ideally, you would give someone at least a month to approach them, ask them for the letter of recommendation, let them know what the timeline is so that they can work on it for you. Remember, they're volunteering to advocate for you. They do have other responsibilities or jobs that they're juggling. Therefore, you want to give them the ideal time to write the great draft, for them to also revise it. As I mentioned before in your personal statement, you want to revise your own personal statement. They too want to revise their letter of recommendation to make sure they're putting you in the best light. So let's say you give them a month to write your letter. Now you're going to follow up with them in 2 weeks just to make sure that it's in the process. They remember that this is approaching, that they're working on it. And you wait to see if it's been uploaded. And ideally, it's uploaded before the scholarship deadline approaches. Because as a leader, we're also assessing your management skills, your personal skills with other people. So you want to make sure that your letter is in on time. And if your letter is in on time, then your application will be in on time overall. Because if we don't see the letter recommendation, then we don't see your whole application, and we may not be able to give your scholarship no matter how wonderful you are. And that would be unfortunate. And follow up with your writer. Once they've written your letter, you want to send a thank you note, either via email, in person, or a card, to say thank you for giving me your time. Thank you for advocating for me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to do something better, to follow my goal, my dream, etc. And in the chance that you're one of the lucky winners of the scholarship, you would follow up with them to let them know that how they've helped you achieve that goal. It's good to build that rapport with the person, because in the future, you may have to ask them for another letter of recommendation. Now they already have one for you on file that they can edit and tweak to make you sound even better the following time. So following up with your letter writers is always recommended. And lastly, stay in touch with the person. Whether or not you win the scholarship, it should help you build rapport with the person you're asking the letter from, so that one, in the future, if you need another letter, they're there for you. They know you well enough to do that. And let's say in the future, they may ask you for a letter recommendation because you've done so great. For me, for example, in college, I asked my professor for a letter recommendation. As I had her class as a first year, I'm applying as a fourth year. I knew her for 3 years. So she wrote me a great letter of recommendation. I was admitted to medical school. And several years later, I get an email from her asking me to write her a letter of recommendation, because we kept that rapport, and she felt that I would be a good advocate for her and reciprocate that advocacy. So it's great to stay in touch. It's great to pick someone who you know, who knows you, who you believe can help you highlight yourself and put your best foot forward to increase your chances of winning this great scholarship. At this time, I will end my presentation, And I believe we're at the Q&A portion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ganaelle, for that really excellent summary. And I just felt that I wanted to echo something you said, which is that idea of maintaining those relationships, which is just so important. I know many of the people who are listening to us, some are applying for college, some are applying for grad school, some are doing post grad school things, doctoral degrees, so they might be in different stages of their career. And yet that whole idea of developing, I like to call it a personal board of directors, but a group of people who are your advisors in life. And some of it's professional, some of it's personal, but those relationships that Ganaelle just described are just so, so important, no matter where you are in your personal and professional journey. So thank you to our presenters, and we are going to cover a couple of questions. One of the first ones that actually came up is, do we accept more than 2 letters of recommendation? Ganaelle, do you want to take that one?
So at this time, the scholarship is asking for 2 letters of recommendation, one from a teacher of your choice and one from anyone else of your choosing. Therefore, you can show your academic achievements and also how you're well-rounded in other areas of your life. And this is an academic scholarship, so we do want to see how you're performing academically. Maybe you're currently not in school and you're enrolling, but you have past teachers, past people who have taught you. Those are great people to reach out to.
Thank you. Next question. This is my 2nd bachelor's degree. Am I still eligible to apply for this scholarship? Kimberly, you want to take that?
Sure. Yes, you are still able to apply because we also take applications from current college students who are perhaps looking to go to grad school, or if you want to pursue another undergraduate degree, we'll definitely support you.
Thank you. How long should the biographical statement be, and can it be your college essay? I'll let Dr. Carline take that since she did our talk on the essay. I think you might be muted, Dr. Carline. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. No, the college essay is supposed to be reflecting the prompt that we pose. And so that the 2 should not be the same. Your biographical essay is supposed to be something brief, maybe a paragraph or 2 at the most, just basically an introduction of yourself. But your college essay it's different. They're 2 separate things.
About the recommendation letters, do they have to come from our current school, college administration? Ganaelle, you touched upon that. Do you want to reiterate what you said?
Yeah, so when asking for letters of recommendation, they can be from past or current professor of your choice. We need 2 of them. And because we understand that people are at different phases of their life, maybe they're in high school applying to college, maybe they're in college applying to graduate school, maybe they took a few years off in between. Therefore, you may not have a current teacher at the moment, but we do want to see someone who can speak about your academic progress. Therefore, it can be past or current.
Besides this scholarship, what other options are there to help and support Haitian international students? Okay. I think maybe all of us can maybe touch on that. My guess is that you're asking, this is for either students who are in Haiti or maybe are living in another country. We do have applicants that are outside of the US. We have awarded scholarships to applicants who are not inside the United States. So the Leadership Scholarship is definitely one of those ways. This gives me an opportunity to actually touch upon what the National Association for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals does. Most of this talk, I think, have aimed to give you good information that you can use broadly both for when you're applying to college and even when you're applying for a job. But as Dr. Carline said about the essay, you should approach this as being very specific to NAHP, as you would when you were writing your college application essay. There, as you know, most schools want to feel like they know you have spent the time researching them and what they do. And to think about what the vision of NAHP is, what we try to do actually is to engage Haitians globally. So aside from the scholarship programs, there are webinars, there are workshops, there are opportunities for professional engagement and mentorship. Part of the core values is to foster greater connectivity, to increase interactions, and to foster a culture of excellence. You can read more about what the organization does on the website, but I think you will find that there are many opportunities for people who are international to become connected with this organization outside of the scholarship program itself. Anybody else want to jump in with that?
And I guess,
okay, go ahead, Dr. Carline.
I also think that you could also try Googling a few things, international scholarships or specific interests that you're interested in, and different writing scholarships, because I know I've consulted with people. I told them, what are your interests? Because a lot of times there are special discrete scholarships out there. And so to broaden your horizon, you could start there. That's basically what I would add.
I would just add, if you are in high school, please talk to your counselors because they are able to help you. And if you are currently in college, do the same thing. Go to your college advisors because there may be a lot of resources out there that they are aware of that you may not be accustomed to. So talk to them, making sure that they know what you're trying to accomplish and that they know your personal story, like I mentioned before, because they can tailor specific applications based on your story.
And I would like to add that the NAHP is an association of many people, that one way to access it is to network with the people already in the group, because we have knowledge about different things that we can refer you to. Don't hesitate to make connection with other people, whether they're abroad or in your home country. Doesn't impact winning the scholarship, but it does help you build a network of support, and people will send you links in other scholarships that they're aware of that you may not be able to find just Googling online.
Thank you. Will the scholarship award go directly to the recipient, or will it go directly to the institution of choice?
The institution.
Yeah. So the way that we have now, when we administer this scholarship, the awardee will need to be enrolled in a school. If you're applying for college, we need to know that you've been accepted into that school. And if you're applying for grad school, we need to see that. We typically give the scholarship to the institution itself to offset costs of tuition and books and room and board, that kind of thing.
And as a former recipient, I would say to follow up with your school's bursar or financial aid office if you do receive the scholarship, to make sure it's received in process.
If I'm under asylum, am I eligible? If you are able to attend school in the United States, or as I said, we have done scholarships outside of the US. If you are applying to an institution of higher learning, you should apply for the scholarship. Can you, if there's a reason that maybe you had an error in an application, and if you want to revise it, you can always get in touch with us and say you need to revise your application if it's before the deadline, I would think. Does anyone have anything else to say on that? But we shouldn't send more than one. If
Right.
there's an issue with your application, you should get in touch with us to make corrections. Is that it for questions? Oh, yes. At this point, it is a one-time payment to the institution. It is not yearly. It is for 1 year. The scholarship this year is $1,000 per scholarship. Okay. Well, I'll let everyone say their summaries. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this. I hope you take the time to learn more about what NAHP is doing. We are excited to read your stories. All of us here have done this for several years now, and we really, really enjoy getting to know all of you. And really the amazing things that you are doing for your communities, for your schools, for your families, and good luck. Kimberly, would you like to?
My key takeaway is your GPA is important, but it isn't everything. Whether you have a 4.0 GPA or you have a 3.2 GPA, I encourage you to apply. And when you do that, please tell us your personal story.
I'd like to second what my panelists already said, especially Dr. Marjorie. We welcome everybody to apply. We've heard some amazing application, and I'm very proud of my Haitian brothers and sisters for everything that you're doing. And we wish that we could give so many more scholarships, and I'm so happy to be part of this committee. And so I just want to say, leave yourself enough time, review your application, your total application, from your recommendation to your essays, and then I wish you the best of luck.
And my last tidbit would be that we love reading application, and we love seeing who else in your own life is cheering you on. So we would love to see letters from them to advocate for you also.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to our wonderful panelists, and thank you to the audience for joining us today. Okay, have a wonderful Saturday afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.